Alrighty, good morning everyone. So today we're going to be having a look at how to do that least squares line thing that we did in Excel and doing it in the calculator. So in order to do that, we're going to need to use the statistics mode. So in order to switch mode, we're just going to go into mode and then we're going to click 2 for statistics. Now, we might be tempted to use 1var because we've used that before to do some statistics, but that's not the one we're going to be using. We're actually going to be using a plus bx. But that should kind of make you think a little bit, because normally when we talk about lines, we think of y equals mx plus c, but they've got instead a plus bx. And in fact, they're really meaning y is equal to a plus bx. So we need to be mindful that we've actually got different definitions of the linear equation. Okay, so when you see something that looks like y equals a plus bx, note that it is still a line, but that it's in the wrong order. So you'll notice we've got mx here first, and then plus c second, but here we've got a first and bx second. The bx matches with the mx, right, because that's where you've got the multiplication between your kind of gradient constant, m, and x. And then c is like our constant or our y-intercept, and that matches up with a. So in fact, in our new equation, a is still our y-intercept, and b is still our gradient. And note that the calculator is going to use capital letters. However, in general, we're going to use lowercase letters to represent little a and little b. So if you click number 2, that is going to open up our bivariate data analysis, and in fact our linear thing, and we just get an x and a y. So we now need to decide which of these variables is our explanatory variable and which is our response variable. And so generally in time series data, but also, in other cases, time after sale affects the car value. What does the car value affect time after sale? Well, things don't really affect time, so that means that time must be affecting the value of the car. So that means time after sale is going to be my x variable, and my y variable is going to be car value. So let's just go through and enter my data in. So I can just go 0 equals 1 equals 2 equals 3 equals, and that's just going to have put in all my years, and I can go back up to the top and start putting in the values. 8,000. Note, you can use the arrows really quickly, so if you click up at the top, then it'll move you to the bottom, vice versa, and then left, right, and down, you can just kind of move around. But if you click equals, that's your way of basically saying enter. I've entered this data now. 7,800, 7,500, and 7,400. There we go. So there is our data. It's always good to double check. I've just entered 8 numbers into this, so it's always a wise idea to just double check that you've done it correctly. Now, like when doing univariate data analysis, this is the moment of trust. We have to trust the calculator at this point. We're going to click the AC button, clear the screen. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring up the stat menu. Okay. Now, the stat menu, once we're in stat mode, is here. So it's Shift 1. And now we get to this screen, okay? Now, if you don't trust that you've entered the data correctly, this is a great point to click 2, check your data, okay? Data's still there. We haven't lost it. If you click mode right now, the whole thing will reset. If you click on right now, the whole thing will reset. You have to click AC to clear the screen, and then Shift 1 to bring up the stat menu, and now we can go through. Now, what are we looking for? Now, the process, this thing we're doing is actually called regression. So we don't want sum, nor var, nor min-max, nor type. We want reg. Reg for regression. And in here, you'll find A and B. So if we click 1, that gives us our A value, which is A is equal to 7,990. And to get B, we're going to have to go Shift Stat 5, 2, and then we can click equals, and we get our B value. And if you remember from last lesson, those were the A and the B values that we got when we did it in Excel. And so we actually know that they weren't approximate. These are the exact values of the equation. But notice, their equation is mx plus c. Our equation is a plus bx. So we need to follow this form, which means we're going to write the a value first plus b times the x. So we're going to get 7,990, our a value, plus b negative 210x. Okay, now you could either write this as plus minus, or you could just write minus. They're going to be the same. This looks a little bit neater, so it doesn't make a difference. But there's my least squares line by hand. Alrighty, so one last thing that we might want to do with our equation now is to draw that line of best fit on the graph. So far, I've just got an equation. An equation is nice, but as you can see, I've got a graph here, and maybe I want to add this line of best fit to this graph. Well, in order to sketch a line, there's two pieces of information I need. I need 2 points. So I need to choose which 2 points I'd like to sketch. It doesn't actually matter, but most of the time we use what's called the end point, basically meaning the start and the finish. And how do we define the start and the finish? Well, we define the start and finish based on the x-axis. So we take the smallest x number and the largest x number. So if we go back to our original data and to the graph, you can see the smallest number is 0, largest number is 3. So we're going to use the values 0 and 3 for x. So let's sub in x equals 0, and we get y is equal to 7,990 minus 210 times 0, which is 7,990. So that means our first point is going to be 0, 7,990. And the other point we're going to use was x equals 3, which is going to give us y is equal to 7,990 minus 210 times 3, which is going to be, I will use my calculator for this one. There we go. So 7,360, which gives us our second point, which is going to be 3, 7,360. So there we go. We've now got these 2 points, which represent basically what the line of best fit thinks is where they should go. So 7,990 is very, very close to here. So we're going to put a so we're going to put that first dot pretty close to the top here. So that's 0,7,990. And then we can do the 3,7,360. So 7,360. This was 7,400, so it's got to be a little bit lower than this one. And then we can just draw a straight line between.